a registered dietitian at the St. Cloud VA here in town. And fall of my senior year is when you do the application process for the internship programs. And I ended up going to Concordia College in Moorhead for my internship. And typically the internships consist of 3 rotations. So you have your food service, your clinical, and your public health or your community rotation.
So with healthcare reform, corporate wellness is a really large industry to get into right now. And due to healthcare reform, there's a lot of restrictions and regulations that go along with it. So I work with those companies to help manage their costs and figure out exactly how they can implement an engaging and long-term solution. I think that you all are sitting in a really good position right now for looking for jobs, from being a registered dietitian all the way to that spectrum of working for these really large corporations that you're hearing about here, from Cargill to General Mills to smaller companies that are doing corporate wellness to health fitness. There's some really large companies, especially here in Minnesota, that are options for you. I guess that's all. I mean, the application process is an application process. You're going to go through a lot of them. You're going to get a lot of no's. But I would also highly encourage you to go to as many interviews as you possibly can, because you cannot get better at interviewing without doing it and failing a couple of times. That might sound really bad, but I think everybody up here would probably agree with that.
I will reiterate the interviewing side. I mean, that's one thing that, you know, I practice, but I wish I would have practiced more. You know, speaking for Cargill, how they do it is you have 4 one-hour interviews back to back. So basically for 4 hours you're doing interviews. You go 1 hour with a person, then you literally go down the hall, another hour, down the hall, another hour, and then so basically for 4 hours you were doing straight interviews. So definitely practice and read up on the company, understand what they do, and have some questions. So that'll be a great skill.
If you haven't gone to the Career Resource Center here or at St. John's, do it. Make an appointment now and continue to go until the day you graduate, would be one of my pieces of advice.
Yeah, I would definitely say read up on the company before, so I'll go on their website, and for my wellness coordinator job, I saw that she just won this big food service director award, so when I walked into her office, I congratulated her on her award, and it showed that I knew who she was and where she came from. And then networking is not like in a suit in an office and very professional. It can be with your, neighbor or your cousin. This wellness coordinator job I got was from telling my boyfriend's mom that I'm interested in wellness and nutrition, and she heard of this job and told me about it, and that's how I got it. I didn't, it's not just sending out your resume and crossing your fingers. You need to talk to people, and people should know what you're interested in and then get help that way. One advice I would say is just to say yes to as many things as possible. So when Jane emails you, does anyone want to go to St. John's Prep and teach a nutrition class? Just always say yes to things, because you meet people that way, and it builds your resume, and I've been able to use really small, strange experiences in other ways down the road. So just say yes to as many things as possible.
Having a general degree, I wouldn't look at that. I think sometimes people look at that as, well, I need to specialize in something, and that's kind of the way that our world works right now. You have to be a specialist in something. But on the other side, you have a lot of employers that are really looking for somebody who's well-rounded, and having more of a general degree really allows you to be teachable. So you've taken many different courses in many different spectrums, and that's what I would tap on. And I would tap on the fact that I've taken these management classes, and I've done some interning that involved some budget, or that involved kind of pulling out a few of those attributes is really important. So
if I can suggest, like, that's also know who you're applying to. You know, do the research, see what they might do that's important, and then figure out what have I done that might be like a tag, what might be interesting. And it's painful to have to do cover letters for every person you apply to, but if you can have a standard one and then just think of a couple sentences to tweak and say, you know, you're big on whatever and I did this.
I worked as a dietary aide at a nursing home, and then also a similar position at a hospital for multiple years during college. And then I also worked at like a municipal airport as a weekend attendant, so nothing to do with nutrition, but I could still show my leadership skills, because I was kind of the weekend management there. And, you just have to find those small characteristics and then relate them to the internship program. But it's not just food service work that you need to get the experience, but like I said, just kind of find those little pieces that you can relate to.